So one of the things that I wanted to touch on is that last week I spent 25 minutes talking about how to drive sales within the next kind of 90 days in your business. I've actually got a consultancy partnership which hasn't been public yet, but which is launching soon, which is essentially me implementing that on behalf of someone else. And again, the reason why I'm not afraid to talk about it is because I get paid to actually do this, that actually I find out what works, I know what works, and I iterate, so the course keeps getting better. But then likewise, we're about to go on, say with Denise, yes, Denise, long story short, but with a lot of the courses, we're about to go into the sales type modules for how you interact with people and build relationships and that kind of thing. But actually, when I also get paid to do this by other people, for their business with real kind of cash, almost it's the proof in the pudding. It's the fact that I'm not afraid to actually kind of do it and put my neck on the line to actually prove that I'm good at this stuff, as well as teaching it as well. So that's something that I'm going to kick off soon. But just in terms of the 7 top tips in business, this is something which I think, yeah, you can spend 25 minutes going into quite a lot of detail on specific topics, which is what I've done in previous weeks. But often just really small things can make a big difference just in mindset. So I've chosen just 7. And the idea is that, yes, I'm going to clip this up and it's going to go onto YouTube, but it might just give you some ideas of things to talk about or things that you can implement within your business or career that actually just will help you achieve whatever it is your goal is. The first one is that it's expensive to be cheap. So I learned this when one of my old housemates, Hassan, we lived together in Sheffield. He's originally from Lebanon, but he's worked all around the world. Really kind of great guy. And his dad owned a chain of fashion stores in the Middle East. And that was where it first kind of came from. But it's the whole point of take the live stream. I could have, in theory, still implemented a live stream from home with just a webcam, and it would have been fine, but it wouldn't help me achieve my goal. Through actually trying to save money in the short term, I probably wouldn't be in 21 countries now. But you can apply this to anything almost. If you go for always the cheapest option, often you will lose in the long term. So the amount of time and effort and cash and stuff that I put into my brand, and I've got a lot of stuff coming through which you haven't seen yet, but actually it will hurt you in the long time. It's always worth investing in the better business cards, the better website, the live stream, the cameras, the lighting, etc. Because actually it will pay off over time. That often if you decide to cut corners, you can cut corners in certain areas if you know it's not important. But the point is, for me and for my business, live streaming is arguably the key piece to help me hit 100 countries. So actually, the more I can make this studio better and better and better still, just as an experience for you at home, is all about strategically doing what I want to do, that it's the right thing to do. And if I say cut corners and went for cheaper lighting, lenses or TV or whichever, it just wouldn't work as well. That actually, yeah, it's expensive to be cheap, and I think it's a really important one to learn. Thanks, Denise. Tip 1, watch the... Thanks, Simon. And follow your content as well. Feel free, Simon, to drop in a link just to your latest launch, which I know I've been following as well, which is really kind of cool just for people who might follow along. Yeah, number 2 is actually people not aiming high enough. I know, and I interact with quite a lot of entrepreneurs, everyone from copywriters to product owners to Denise, who helps run a machine shop in Northeast England, people of all different sizes to £4 billion South Korean kind of companies. And I think people often don't aim high enough. If you really get your strategy right to think through what it is that you offer, and also one of the things that we also look at on the course is that what else do you have within your skill set and background and network which has value? It's how can you leverage those to actually create a much bigger impact? Because it's a prime example. If you are very good at a topic, so I'm going to take copywriting again, you might target businesses in the northeast of England, of which there are give or take 42,000. But the issue you then have is that yes, you have to raise profile and yes, you have to kind of do that, but you're going to cap out at a certain point, because if you convert 0.1% of the people that see your stuff, get more people to see your stuff, but also, identify who pays the highest kind of wages, where's the market opportunity, and then likewise aim to do copywriting in America, in Australia. Obviously, for most people, it would be English speaking. But the point is actually have those ambitions and look at how you put the structures in to then create that So for instance, say with the roadmap, I always aimed from the very start to actually aim big. And then likewise, even if it only stayed as with people within England or whichever, that'd still probably be more than enough for me. But actually through, again, aiming high and going for the big stuff, you're probably going to, exceed and achieve what you always wanted to. But actually it's always worth trying, and actually just that genuine ambition, it's something we do at the start of the course, is to actually write down, what are your aims and ambitions? What is it you actually want to achieve? And even with the interview I did with Suki last night, she said, where do I want to be in 10 years? And I was honest. I said, I want to be seen ideally as someone like a Simon Sinek, where people come to you as an expert on a topic, but actually, that's what I'm aiming for. But it will take 10 years to get there. And it's just, doing my streams, doing my things, being consistent is one of the most important things. You're right, Simon, good things are not cheap. Correctly. No, he's completely correct. And again, the global interview, I think I was part of season 17, but a really good thing. And again, what I also did is that if I went through and looked at all of the people involved with each kind of season where they interview people, really interested people from around the world, and I connected with them, because it never really hurts to connect with good people around the world and actually just build your network. I think that's also the other thing, that when people aim too small, it's because they haven't necessarily met people in Singapore or South Korea or Australia that actually build those connections and add value to the network without feeling that you're just taking from people, if that makes sense. And that's a really important thing, part of your strategy. The next is actually to do with having a broad range of skills and how this is really valuable. So the way that I draw this out in the roadmap, and it's something we really look at, is that for me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So everyone has a range of skills across their career which you develop. So I'm going to go through them just generally, but actually it doesn't necessarily matter. So for instance, if you start your career, you generally start with minimal kind of technical knowledge. So you might have some industry knowledge about what is offshore energy. You probably haven't managed anyone before, so you don't know how to do that, but you've got some banter where actually you're not afraid to talk to people, and you're confident in doing promotion and actually helping to put yourself out there in terms of marketing and a little bit of sales. And what happens is actually that when you start your career, all of your skill sets, so imagine these are jars of skills and things that you have, that as you go through your career and you do different business courses or you learn different things, you actually start to build these up. And what you find is actually, if you look at the kind of career mountain, so you have the CEO at the top and you start at the bottom. Essentially, as you go through your career, you're probably like this at the bottom, where actually you're kind of learning your craft, you've just finished school or college, and actually this is the whole point of your career. But then as you kind of go through and you start to learn new things, when you kind of get to mid-level or so, you're probably a very good specialist in a certain area. So you might be a very good salesman, for instance. So you might be a brilliant salesman and you're great at talking to people and you know how to qualify them and prospect them. And that's what your skill set is. And people build their whole careers just being exceptionally good in one area. This is also true in large businesses. So if you take a Google, for instance, they will have sector specialists who are 10 out of 10 in one particular area, because in much bigger organizations, that's kind of all you need. As in that it can have a team of people that just do business strategy, and they'll have 20 of them. And those people don't need to be good at management or sales because they just do that one role. In smaller businesses, but also as you kind of go through your career, you're probably asked to do a bit of sales, speak to customers, technically understand what it is that you do, maybe manage some team, understand some of the financials about how you run a business. But the point is, in smaller businesses, you're actually often asked to handle and do more stuff. And in some ways, you're asked to have more of a skill set in different areas, because that's actually what small businesses need. They need people to almost help out across a range of issues. But one of the things that I just wanted to kind of touch on in terms of the point number 3 for today is that the more you have a breadth of skills and the more you kind of go through your career, when you actually get to the top of the mountain, so you're the CEO or the MD, chances are you have very good technical knowledge in terms of what your business kind of does. You're going to be good at strategy, you're going to know how to sell, you've got marketing, you're going to have to do HR, you're going to understand the financials. But the broader your range of skills, and the higher the range of skills that you have, excuse me, you're more valuable. So one of the whole points of the roadmap is that we teach people across all 8 breadths of your kind of career development and different skills that we work on. And the idea is that that makes you more valuable to actually help you get promoted. And that's in terms of your career, or likewise, if you want to run and start your own business, you could be a technical specialist in copywriting. So you might know your art really well, but if you don't know how to strategically set up a business, market yourself, sell yourself, network. The last one is all about the financials and financial intelligence. If you don't know how to do those things, there's a real chance that your business will fail. So the whole point of the roadmap is to teach this breadth of skills that it's very difficult to learn kind of elsewhere, but actually how it will hopefully impact and help your business or career. Hi, Denise. But Denise is a prime example. So for instance, again, with her business, Denise's role now is largely to do with marketing, sales, building relationships, and bringing people into the business to actually, raise awareness so they can sell more. So actually, Denise in some ways brings certain skills, but Denise's partner, John, who's the technical specialist, arguably has the complementing skills. So for a small business, you actually want to add in the pieces which complement what you do, that bring in your strengths. So for instance, if you're terrible with numbers, so imagine you're really good at these, but your finances are you just don't understand numbers, it's just not your thing. You can bring someone in to help that. And that also what helps where outsourcing kind of works. But the point is, over your career, the more a broader breadth of skills that you can develop, the more valuable you'll become, the more successful your business will be, because actually you'll just understand kind of what to do. But no, Denise, thank you for the comment. So next, number 5, I actually think that this is quite interesting, and it was a concept that I read actually in a book I'm reading at the moment. It's by a guy called Tim Grover. It's called Winning, and it's actually to do with mindset, to do with sports and basketball and different things. But actually it's almost, imagine or treat yourself like a sculptor. So this could be you as yourself or you as the business. That actually when Michelangelo created David, when sculptors create stuff, they don't start with the finished product. But what they do is strategically take away bits that aren't needed, that don't add value to the end result. And actually I thought this was really interesting, because actually we all do things and have things in our lives which actually don't necessarily add value or help us get to wherever it is that we want to get to. So like a sculptor, or at least with that kind of concept, you can, if you choose to, remove negative influences from your life, things that don't add value, things that you don't enjoy, etc., and actually create what's called a no list. So within the course, we go and we plan out something called lead actions, and it's how, it's creating all the positive things that we want to do with our lives or our kind of business. But actually, what's also equally important is almost to come up with a list of things that you will say no to. So things that come in that you don't really want to do, people that kind of take the piss a little bit when they want to just ask favors or abuse the relationship, that actually, like a sculptor, removing the bits that don't add value is a really good, clever mindset for something to actually think about that I just wanted to kind of share. And actually, yeah, just the concept of actually, what if you were to create a list of things that you would remove from your life that don't add value, that don't help you get to where it is that you want to be, what would they be? And it could be things like smoking, it could be bad habits. I'm trying to cut down on my kind of McDonald's intake and trying to up my fitness levels, but it's trying to find the balance of whatever works for you. And it was a really interesting concept that I kind of wanted to talk about. Next, I'm going to go into time management. So this is number 6 of 7. I had a chat with someone on Tuesday, and she was picking my brains about how and why do I seem to be able to get a lot of stuff done? Because you'll probably see me multiple times a week doing this, but I do all my classroom sessions, I do all my consultancy stuff. And don't get me wrong, I do work hard. And yesterday I was in the office at 6:30 in the morning. And then I didn't finish the interview until nearly kind of 8 o'clock in the evening. That's not common, that's quite rare. But the whole point, just in terms of time management, for one, it's not a level playing field. So for instance, this lady has family commitments, she has children who has to go to school, she has horses, she has lots of really good stuff that she has in her life which she really enjoys. that, truth be told, I don't have. So I don't have kids, I don't have pets, I don't have to walk a dog, and all of those things. But what that means is, rightly or wrongly, it gives me a competitive advantage on probably an extra 2-3 hours every single day that I can spend doing stuff, because this again is my kind of hobby, that actually she doesn't have. And the reason why I wanted to almost share this is that never judge yourself on against other people, because you don't know what their environments are, what their systems are, or whatever it is that they're kind of like going through. But likewise, never cut out stuff that you actually enjoy doing. So if you love spending time with your kids, if you love the freedom of walking the dog, if you love riding your horses, etc., that's good, fun, positive time that, enjoy it, embrace it. And the whole point of everything we're trying to do here is actually just to create a business, a life, or a career which actually just helps you achieve the lifestyle that you want. So if in a perfect world you would be, yes, you'd be a multimillionaire, but actually you would still walk the dogs, take your kids to school, ride your horses, etc., why not do it now? And it was just the interesting point of just on time management. It's not an equal playing field. And then likewise, you also see some people that probably go over the top where, they're killing themselves to work stupid hours. You see this a lot in like investment banks and different things, where people might work from, say, 9 a.m. maybe to like 2 a.m. But they do it, but they burn out in their 20s and they're miserable and stuff. That you don't want to replicate that. That's not cool. But actually, it's that level playing field that, especially on social media, when you see stuff, often you will see the perfect version of that person and what they're doing, that actually it's not always true as well. And it was just to kind of, in some ways, kind of take the pressure off. Hi, Denise. I'm just catching up on the comments there. Yeah, I agree, Simon. It is hard to actually create a list of things to stop doing. And again, Denise, it's a really important point that actually when we look at the mindset approach for the business and whatever it is that we're trying to do, the end goal is to create a happy, content life. That's what we're looking at. One way to help do that is through having a successful business or career that helps fund that, but actually gives you fulfillment in terms of the stuff that you actually create and do every week. But the end goal is always happiness in many ways. So it was just an interesting topic that came up this week that I thought I would share. And last but not least, on number 7, is actually just make a little bit of progress every day. So one of the things that for version 2 of the roadmap, I'm going to be adding in a whole concept which I discovered probably 6 months ago, and it's called Ikigai, and it's all about how you can find your purpose, what makes you happy in kind of life, but actually how can you build your business or career around your passions and things that you like. So for instance, for me, I love being creative, I love doing this kind of thing. But actually, whenever you have something that you can work on over time, so Simon has the global interviews, Denise has her business and her family life and different things. But actually, that little bit of progress, the feeling that you're creating something or sculpting something or growing something over time, actually often gives you fulfillment in terms of your life and your career, that it's very hard to get from material things or cars or watches or whichever. And actually, it's something I'm going to add to the roadmap at the start, because actually the more that we can help do that, you're going to have a more fulfilled and happy kind of life or career. And even earlier this week, a lady that I know who is in the same business centre I am, she wasn't quite sure in terms of her own kind of life and career, what is the path that she wanted to kind of follow. And we talked it through, and it turns out that she's really passionate about property and interior design. So we looked at, well, actually, how can she write to a company to do some work experience, to almost just dip your toe into that area. But it was all about actually thinking about, and she did the Ikigai kind of exercise. What is she passionate about? What do you enjoy? And then actually follow that as part of your dream. So for me, I love solving problems. I love working with people. I love this interaction, but I also love techie stuff and streaming and cameras and whatever. So this kind of is my passion, and it's part of the reason why I'm kind of throwing my heart and soul into it. But it's really important for you to do as well. But actually just having something, and it doesn't matter what it is. It could be your allotment. It could be the classic car that you're looking to restore. It could be whatever. Just having a task or something that you do over time, which you enjoy, can actually just really help give you fulfillment and life happiness and stuff as well. But just you don't have to make huge strides in 6 months. You can take your time, and that's kind of really important.